Hello, in this video, I'm going to review polynomial long division. So this term right here is our divisor, and this polynomial here is our dividend. Now, usually the divisor is typically, at least for polynomial long division, it's a binomial, but in this case, it's a monomial. So let's see how this works. So let's write this out here. X squared long division box, and then write that in. Now notice that this expression here has all the powers in it. Power of 3, power of 2, power of 1, power of 0, which is a constant. If there were powers missing, we would want to add space with a 0 in there so we can properly align it. So in this example, we don't have to deal with that. So here we go. We have our divisor here, and we're going to divide this into just this term here. So how do we do that? Well, on the side here, you don't have to do this. Let me just show you to the first time for this part here. This is the dividend, so this goes on top. Divisor goes on the bottom. So that's all we're doing. We're just doing a little division there. You can think of this as a 1, right? Implied 1 as a coefficient. 6 divided by 1 is 6. When we're dividing exponents, we subtract them. So 3 minus 2 is 1. So that's the result there, is 6x. So that's what we're doing here. We're dividing x squared into 6x cubed, and our answer is 6x. Just put it right above here, 6x. Okay, now, like regular long division, we're going to multiply next. 6x times x squared is 6x to the third. When you multiply this back, you should definitely get the exact same thing as you have up here. It should be identical. So we just multiplied. The next step is to subtract. I like to use parentheses for subtraction so I know. So I'll leave the original sign the way it was. That's just the way I like to show it. But here's the subtraction part. So when we distribute this negative, this becomes a negative here. So positive 6x cubed and a negative 6x cubed is 0x cubed. So we could just leave it blank for now. You could put a 0 here or leave it blank. We'll leave it blank. So what we do next is we're going to bring down the next term. 4x squared. So now we're going to divide x squared into negative 4x squared. Well, x squared divides into x squared one time, so that part's not going to be any different. It's going to be a 1. But we have a 1 divided to negative 4, and that's negative 4. So really what we're looking at is to see what's missing from here that's included here. And what's missing from here is the negative 4. So the negative 4 goes next in line up in the dividend. We multiply back. Negative 4 times x squared is negative 4x squared. And again, these two should be identical. Now we subtract. This becomes 0 because we have a negative times a negative is positive, right? Negative 4 and a positive 4, x squared, becomes 0. So that goes away. Now let's bring down the next term. X. And now we divide again. X squared into x to the first. Is it possible for x squared to divide into x to the first? No. So once you cannot divide anymore, once this number or variable down here has a smaller power than the variable up here, we're done long division. We're done. However, don't forget that 9 up here, we have to bring that down too. So we have to bring everything else down, because everything down here is the remainder. This is the remainder, and this is the quotient. All right, so let's type that in there and see if MyLab Plus is going to accept it. Yes. So that is what they were looking for. All right, so let's try one more problem. And this next one here, it's going to be a little bit different. Same general procedure, but it's going to be slightly different because notice in this problem, the powers were sequential. X to the 0, x to the first, second, third. The next problem, we're not going to have that. All right, so here the divisor is this, and it's a binomial. And then this is our dividend. So again, we're going to write it in long division format. So we have x squared plus 7 divided into. Now though, let's take a quick look at this. We're missing x to the third term. We have x to the 0, which is 1, and 1 times 5 is 5. So there it is. There's our constant term. We have x to the first, x to the second. We're missing x to the third. So we really should account for it in here in one of two ways. And I'll show you that in a minute. So let's begin by writing in the first term. 6x to the fourth. Now for x to the third term, you can leave it blank, or we can put a plus 0x to the third. Either way works. It doesn't matter. No right or wrong with that. We need to account for that though. Then we're going to continue writing everything else in. So negative 8x squared plus 8x plus 5. So here we have a binomial again, different from the last problem. So we have to do something slightly different here. The first step is to divide. Only look at the variable portion, the x squared. We're going to divide the x squared into the first term here. Okay, so on the side, we can do that real quick again if you needed to. But once you get the hang of it, you don't have to do this anymore. And this is 1x squared, right? 1x squared. 6 divided by 1 is 6. We subtract the powers, x squared. So that's our answer there for that part. So x squared divides into 6x to the fourth, 6x squared times. Now we're going to multiply back 6x squared times x squared, and better give us that, and he will. We'll get the same thing. However, we also have to multiply 6x squared times positive 7. So for a binomial as the divisor, we have to multiply this with both terms. So 6 times 7 is 42, x squared. Now notice that it's 42x squared. We're not going to put it here. We're going to put it here. We're going to line it up with the same power. So it's plus 42 2x squared. That way, when we add, everything will line up. So we just multiplied. Now we're going to subtract. Again, this is going to distribute in. This is going to become a negative 6x to the fourth. Gone. So that's going to be 0. We'll leave it blank. 0 plus 0 is 0. We're going to leave this blank. This negative makes this a negative 42x squared. Negative times a positive is negative. So negative 42 and a negative 8, same sign, add the numbers and keep the sign. So this is negative 50x squared. So now what we're going to do next is bring down all terms up here. Let's bring them all down. And we're doing that only because we were missing a term here. So let's bring these down. We're going to continue with division by looking at the x squared and dividing it into the leading term down here. X squared goes into negative 50x squared, negative 50 times. What does this term have that this term does not have? Negative 50. Okay, that's our answer. Negative 50 times x squared is negative 50x squared. But we also have to multiply negative 50 times 7 and put our answer down here. So 7 times 5 is 35, and we have a 0 we tag on. So 350, negative 350. And you can do the arithmetic on the side if you need to. But this is negative 350. Notice that I brought this down too, because this negative 350 has to go right here. So that way we can combine the constants. All right, so let's subtract. Negative times a negative is positive. Plus 50 minus 50, gone. Negative nothing, so this is still nothing here. So 8x, positive 8x plus nothing is still positive 8x. Negative times a negative is positive. So this is now positive 350. 350 plus 5 is 355. Positive 355. All right, so let's see, can we keep dividing? Well, we have x squared divided into x to the first. Nope, we cannot. We're done because the leading term down here has a lower power than the leading term here, the variable term. So we are done. This is the remainder down here. And right up here is our quotient. Let's type that in and see if this is what they're looking for. So the quotient goes here, 6x squared minus 50. And then we have 8x plus 355. And there it is. So that's how you perform polynomial long division. If you like my content, click the like button, post your comments, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.